Well, bowling fans are back again. Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan is the site. The Sean Yonan Memorial Tournament. This year, instead of Keith Yonan out here, we have his son Trevor out here helping with a little bit with getting the tournament rolling here. We got our finals. A little different than years past. Years past, we just had a boys and girls finals. They split up the divisions this year a little bit, didn't they, Trevor?
Yes, we did a high school and a college this year to kind of make it even playing field, and I think it worked out great. We got 40 to 50 entries in both, and turned out well for us.
So we'll have the high school boys starting off first. We're going to give you the girls matches second, and then we'll come back with the college boys final third. Great show, and a lot of scholarship money these bowlers got the bowl for today, didn't they?
Yeah, another $12,000 raised, so it brings our total over 120 grand. So great for the kids, and hopefully their scholarships will go to the right place. So.
Sure they will. $1,000 to the winner of each of these three matches out here today for first place in their respective divisions. So we'll be back to Lakeshore Lanes in just a moment with the high school boys final. Make sure you stay tuned. Lakeshore Lanes features 24 synthetic AMF lanes with the latest in automatic scoring and bumper bowling on all lanes. Strikes Bar and Grill has one of Sheboygan's best kept secrets in their Friday night fish fry, while the Windjammer Banquet Hall can handle any of your party needs up to 275 people. Stop in and come see why Lakeshore Lanes is the best bowling center in Sheboygan. Opening match for this year's Sean Yonan Memorial Tournament. First of the three divisions we have out here today, the high school boys final, Joey, and one newcomer to TV here with Patrick Arney on our telecast, Livia Bolden, we've seen a couple of times before.
And Patrick, out of Colgate, bowls at in Menominee Falls, right, at Classic Lanes?
Classic Lanes, Menominee Falls. His youth program bowls for Germantown High School during the high school bowling season, and pretty tall guy.
Gets a midful with a little bit of loft, but a little bit of a soft 10-pin, but they are bowling on a rather challenging pattern today.
Yeah, they're bowling on last year's, the 2013 USBC Nationals pattern from Reno for singles and doubles. So all the bowlers on the show today got to practice for 15 minutes while we were doing that opening with Trevor Yonan.
Boy, that'd be nice to have 15 minutes of practice at the national tournament.
No kidding. You get your 10 minutes as a team, and I think you get 5 minutes for singles and doubles now. It's not a lot of time. And unfortunately, Patrick should have taken a little more time making that 10-pin because that's an early open for him. I want to thank once again the Sheboygan Tourism Board. Visit Sheboygan.com for bringing you all this Sean Yonan action again this year. And for the first time on our next show, we'll have the Sean Yonan Memorial Open, which is open to adult and youth bowlers. So we'll probably see some pretty good bowlers on that show as well. Livia with his first pitch on TV in almost a year, and not a good one, way wide, and we know it's not coming back on that pattern today.
Yeah, and again, with a 2.5 to 1 ratio pattern, that tells us the oil is reasonably flat from gutter to gutter. There's no free hook zone, right of second arrow like a lot of leak shots have. So sometimes a 1-board error in the front part of the lane can be a 3-board error down lane.
Nice job covering it up, though, getting both pins with the ball. And yeah, a lot of times in our shows in the past, get patterns that are a little bit easier than this one that don't break down as quickly. And it takes 220, 230 to win on these shows. And something today tells me if somebody gets out here and shoots a 210 game, it's probably going to win a lot of these matches.
Right, and that's the reasoning behind it is not to embarrass bowlers, but rather to identify good shot making. And we'll see how the kids respond to the challenging condition today.
Yeah, and especially with a $1,000 first place scholarship on the line for each of the three divisions out here today, the high school boys, the girls, and the college boys you'll see in the last match. And there's 4 very familiar bowlers you'll see on those last 2 matches today.
As we see 10 back in the pit from Livio. Ball faced up a little bit stronger, it appeared to be, on lane 3 than lane 4. Unless, again, lane 4 was a wild pitch.
Yeah, I think definitely was a wild pitch. And And we've seen that with Livio in the past on TV. Sometimes his pre-shot routine isn't consistent. He gets a little bit, whether it's the nerves or lack of focus, and doesn't quite get that pre-shot routine down. And another 10-pin of a different manner this time for Patrick.
Right, we see both players using the Storm IQ Tour Fusion, which is a hybrid ball, one of the top sellers across the nation. And when I say hybrid, that means it's a combination of a solid reactive cover and a pearl reactive cover.
And he switches his thumb insert out, and he switches to that polyester bowling ball. Going to try to get back to 500 on those. And he's fouled on that shot. Regardless, doesn't matter. He did miss the 10-pin, but definitely a foul on that. If it would have knocked the pin over, it would have still counted as 0. And a big 22-pin hole for Patrick Early. You can see on the replay, definitely on that line, and that's why the buzzer went off.
Right, and his shoes are a little larger than yours and mine, so he has to be aware of that.
Yeah, our foul judge there, Dan Roerdink, head coach of the Sheboygan High School bowling program that won the Division I state title this year. So congratulations to Dan and son Andrew on the team. A lot of other good bowlers in the Sheboygan area that not only bowl high school, but middle school. They got a pretty solid middle school program as well up here. And that's the way to bounce back off a couple opens.
Yeah, we're seeing a little better reaction for both players on lane 3 compared to lane 4, but it is early.
And that's the thing is that, you know, pair to pair, we always see that lanes are different, house to house. Sometimes it's a subtle difference. Other times it's much greater, like lanes 9 and 10 at Motion Plus lanes. We always see lane 10 always seems to play a couple of boards tighter for the bowlers. Livio nice off the hand, and he gets the setup well.
Yeah, now if we analyze Livio's game as compared to Patrick's, their hand positioning at release quite a bit different. Livio subscribing to the open-handed release method, which a lot of players do on tour. And Patrick, on the other hand, tends to kind of close his hand, maybe grip it a little bit tighter at release point.
Yeah, Patrick's release kind of like Mika Koivuniemen out on tour with the long reach, the long loft. So, Mika's had quite a career, not only on the PBA Tour, but worldwide with his game. And Livio a little quick out of the hand there, and we're not getting that strong roll of the pocket.
You did a great job on Mika's last name, and have you been practicing pronunciation or what?
Well, we've got Katie Zwiefelhofer and Stephanie Slislewicz on the next match, so I've been practicing all kinds of names today, Joey.
But Katie, everybody knows Katie as Katie, and we see another missed 10-pin now. This seems to be a trend today. That's 3 of them.
You know, and in both their matches getting here to the through the semifinals, they were 2-game total pin matches to get to TV, and both bowlers not missing a lot of spares. Livio had 2 sets over 500 for 2 games, so you know he wasn't leaving much of anything on the deck. But Patrick was covering all his spares getting here as well, and now just probably a case of the nerves. TV lights will do that to these young players. Little pull on the bottom there, it needs to hold, and a wrap 10. So yeah. 2 out of his 4 shots are wrap 10s.
Much better reaction on that ball, and I mean, could it be his hand is a little clammy or sweaty, causing a little more loft than normal? Or is this his natural game?
Yeah, it just seems on that shot, that was a little farther lofted on the lane, but it did play much more direct than the second frame shot. And you know in the back of his mind's got to be thinking, don't miss this again. You know, take that extra time, focus a little. The bowlers are under a 30-second shot clock, so once the bowling ball comes back off the ball return, they have 30 seconds to start their approach on the next shot. They get 1 warning. The second time, they get a 0 for that ball in the frame. So they will know if they take too long, they'll get a warning. I don't think we'll see that problem with Livio. But Patrick, though, very deliberate on the back of the approach. And now that his spare ball's back, he's got 30 seconds to start his next delivery. Looks like he's using a turbo thumb insert there with that just quarter turn or half turn. The switch grip, I use that personally. I enjoy it very much.
So do you think the time shot clock is putting a little added pressure on the players, or do they pretty much abide by it?
I think they abide by it, and he'll abide by getting that crossover strike, getting in the commercial break for this game. Join Joe Sir and I back from Lakeshore Lanes to Sheboygan for the rest of this high school boys final in just a moment. Due to time constraints, we had the bowlers both through the commercial break. Livio bowls and stepped up in his half of the 5th frame and had a very nice 10 in the pit strike. On the 6th frame on lane 3, here at Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan, comes up a little bit high, gets a good break to take that 9-pin out, only leaving the 4. No problem for Livio covering up the spare to maintain that 19-pin lead. But it turns around pretty quickly. Patrick Arney steps up in his half of the 6th frame with a high flush strike. And then in the 7th frame for Patrick, a little bit of a break, pulls it a little bit to the left, crosses over, and with that turkey, Patrick Arney takes the lead. We now rejoin the action with myself and Joe Serrar.
Well, a good break. I mean, a better shot may have left a 4-6, and it keeps his string alive, and now puts a little pressure on Livio to start stringing.
Yeah, first time in this match that Livio Bolzen's fallen behind, and that comes high, and a big break to get that 10-pin out and just leave the 3-pin.
And that might have surprised him a little bit, because it looked as though he threw it nicely off the hand.
So yeah, that easily could have been a 3-9-10, something spinning through the pin deck there, taking them both out. Switches to a urethane ball to take most of the lane out of play to make that single pin, and he does. You can see Livio, he'll wear his motions a little bit more on his sleeve than Patrick does on the lanes. You'll see a few fist pumps here and there, and little facial emotions. He's happy, and once again, this is a shot I think that's a problem for Livio. Sometimes he gets a little frustrated, and he gets real quick with his pre-shot routine, and he comes up high again, and a mirror image of the last shot.
So again, this is where the player starts questioning, is it me or is it the lane?
And I think right now, if somebody could go down there and kind of tap Livio on the shoulder and go, hey, take your time before you get up on the approach. Make sure you're making good shots. Make sure you're focused. It's going to help him a lot now because still behind on the match, and with Patrick Arney working on 3 in a row here, a double, 8 and 9, extending it out to a 5-bagger could really shut the door on Livio.
That brings up a good question for you, Phil. They do allow coaching during competition?
Absolutely, yeah. If these bowlers want to go consult with anybody during the tournament, they're more than welcome to. If they wanted to, they could have had a corner person down there with them while they were bowling, or a coach sitting with them, but both bowlers decided to forego that, go on their own, and he's not going to get that break to roll that 2-pin out.
Yeah, everybody's friend, roll that 2-pin forward, and that would have been a double, I believe. So
4 in a row.
That would have kept the string alive at 4. But again, he does have a reasonably easy spare conversion.
So he'll switch to that polyester ball, nice and straight, and with his ball speed, shouldn't be too much hook even with polyester in his hand. Very long, way open on the shoulders, kind of pinches it on the way through, but keeps it on line and covers it up nicely to maintain that 2-pin lead.
And he actually has pretty good balance considering he has a tall drink of water.
And he's got that, and especially with the amount he opens his shoulders, and opens and closes his shoulders to get that high backswing. You can't get a higher backswing without torso rotation to open your shoulders up, but sometimes you see a lot of kids try to close it down and they fall off balance to the right all the time. He hasn't fallen off balance at all, so he's got that balance down pretty well for such a large amount of shoulder rotation.
Right, and modern day players do that to generate ball speed and power.
No problem balancing there, but tough to tell there.
And again, I mean, that could be the pattern. We are 2.5 to 1 ratio, and it's possible a 2-board error is going to be a washout.
Yeah, I didn't think it was anything speed related there. He's got he's about an 18.5, 19-mile-an-hour ball speed, no doubt about that, but it had to just miss a little bit to the right, and it's not coming back out here today. So he's going to take the direct approach.
But, then again, he did cross over on this lane in his previous frame, so he may have made an adjustment, and on a flatter pattern, a big move may not be the right move. It takes 2.
Ooh. Count at this point in the match is kind of huge, yeah. Puts him down right now by 14, so Livio right now, if you can get a couple of marks going, he can really put the pressure on Patrick.
Well,
he's step up in the 10th.
Excuse me, help. He's been 4-pin and then beak with 3 pins. Makes an adjustment, leaves a 9, which could have been a 4-9. So he's still not having as good a look as he had to start the match.
Yeah, and spare here is huge. Keep the lead, because then if you can double in the 10th frame, Livio can lock this match up and get himself that $1,000 scholarship for the boys' high school final here. A little up on his toes on that shot.
Yeah, well, he does. He's possibly a Type A personality bowler, meaning he attacks the line, I mean, he gets the feet going quick, and when that momentum gets a little ahead of the shoulders or the center of your gravity near the waist, you're going to lean forward.
Yeah. We've seen that with Livio before, where sometimes later in the match, he gets a little amped up. Not too bad out of his hand, but I guess just a little left there and leaves himself a 6-10, but a spare here still puts the pressure on Patrick to double in the 10th frame.
Yeah, 6-10s are no gimmies. They're easy to miss, easy to chop.
Yeah, I mean 192 right now. If you can go spare strike, that would force Patrick to double in the 10th frame. Whoa!
Oh boy, yeah, that was not a good slide or release.
Yeah, I don't think he fouled there, but regardless, in the channel for 180, and right now, if Patrick can go, let's see on the replay, yeah, he didn't foul, didn't go over with his hands, so if it would have stayed on the lane, it would have been a legal delivery. But right now, if Patrick can get 20 pins in the 10th frame, he'll go home as the inaugural high school boys champion in that $1,000 scholarship.
Now, we've had a lot of 9 counts. There's a possibility for a tie, Phil. What is the procedure if they do tie?
Tie would be a 9th and 10th frame roll-off, just like we used to see in the old days of the PBA Tour. And just a huge pitch outside and almost got the break of a lifetime there.
Well, that could have been, because the strike there means you just need a spare in the next 2 frames and a pretty much certain victory.
And watch that 3-pin come back off the wall, slices into something, 4 rolls back into the 2, and almost knocks the head pin over. Yeah, that definitely would have been the break of his bowling career so far for Patrick Arney, but now to have any chance of winning, this spare is a necessity, and you miss the head pin once, no guarantee you're going to hit the second time. Strains it out a little bit, right on it. Well, easy work's done, now the tough work comes out.
Needing 9 is not easy.
Well, 9's the tie, 10's the win. Anything less than 9, you're going home with a $500 scholarship, Patrick. So, yeah, 9 for sure he needs here, and he does have only 1 count this game under 9, and that was in the 9th frame when he left the washout. So odds are here we're going to see at least a tie, if not a victory. Taking that little extra time, but it's not. If he goes over on the 30-second shot clock, it's the last shot of the game. It's not going to be penalized. That needs help. That's dead left. And a huge break to take the 9 and 10 out.
Yeah, we saw 3 up there, and then 2, and then 1, so we do have our tie.
Wow, 180 tie. We're going to get back with the 9th and 10th frame roll-off. We got Tournament Director Keith Yonan coming over. He's going to let the bowlers know what they need to do. And Joe Serrano will be back with that roll-off from Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan in just a moment. Make sure you stay tuned. Back for the overtime. 9th and 10th frame roll-off between Patrick Arney and Livio Bolzen. Patrick is higher seed, had lane choice, Joey, and he wants to know what he needs in the 10th frame when he steps up this time. He's going to start this 9th and 10th frame roll-off on lane 3 here at Lakeshore Lanes.
So he enjoys pressure.
I guess so. Wants to know what he needs, and maybe even the victory lap if he's done, if he has it locked up and gets that $1,000 first place scholarship today. Little flippy out of the hand that time. You'd see he fell off balance to the right, and that let the ball drift right with him. Lucky to just leave that 2-pin.
Right, and again, 2 frames means they're going to get each going to get a shot on each lane, so there's no advantage to one bowler over the other.
And it's just a matter of sometimes who closes out that best 10th frame.
Right, and no equipment advantage in this match since they're both using similar balls, and I'm not sure on the layouts, but
yeah, both bowlers here, you see them switch to different equipment to make their spares. Patrick goes with a polyester ball. Livio goes with the urethane ball, but either way they go much straighter than those resins that they're using for their strike shots, and no problem with Patrick covering up that spare. And wow, Livio apparently knows what he wants to do here because he wastes no time getting up on the approach. Pretty decent out of his hand, Joey, and can't get that messenger.
Good ball reaction down lane, and the messenger just missed the message, sending itself in front of the 10.
Take a look at that replay here, and yeah, watch that head pin come back, and if it would have tipped around the other way, would have had no problem getting that 10 pin out. But, you know, there's a reason why you're leaving 10 pins even with messengers, and that's just being that not heavy enough roll getting in the pocket.
Right, no problem sliding on the right lane there. Now he's up to the lane. He doesn't want to leave another corner pin on because he's stuck big time.
Yeah, whether that was just timing or an actual issue with his where he ended up on the approach. He's hoping he doesn't have to find out here if he can just keep striking. Sits up nicely and gets that trip four.
And that's a big shot. That puts pressure on his opponent to pretty much match his shooting here in the 10th. This one here could be lockjaws.
Yeah, I mean, even a spare here, you have 40, and that forces Patrick to step up and strike on the first ball or else. So he knew it was pretty decent out of his hand. Little fist pump there, and as we said before, Livio, you'll see some emotions coming out of him out there on the approach. And he grabbed that one on the bottom and pays the full price on that.
You don't want to see an open after you got control of the match. And you know, he should have moved in on that lane because he did trip the kind of the 4-7-9 on the previous shot.
Yeah.
It's easy for us to say. We're sitting back here watching.
And it's easy to even make the move, and all of a sudden your body just responds and gets a little grabby because you're a little farther left than you just were. Hand gets a little grabby with it, and then you go through the nose again.
He did take two, which is important.
Oh, right now here, basically Patrick needs at least 8 pins to stay alive on this shot. If he goes 9 spares strike, we'd have a tie. If he can go strike here and then get all 10 pins over his last 2 balls for his spare, he'd win 40-39. But yeah, 8 count here working on a spare, it would be match over. So once again, 30-second shot clock in effect, but it starts fresh with the overtime. So Patrick had the 1 warning at the end of last game.
And this lane has not been too friendly for him.
And not friendly there is stoning a 9 pin on it, just a pretty high flush shot. I think he thought he could have victory in the bag right there. But pretty calm, cool, and collected back at the end of the approach because he knows he's got to make this. And the 7 was pretty late on there,
Probably
too.
One of his best shots of the match.
He knows it, and a little bit of a, can't believe I just left the 9.
Yeah, that goes back to the old saying, life's not fair. Why would we think bowling would be?
And he did have a couple of crossovers to make up that 3-bagger earlier in the game during regulation.
Right, they do even out, it seems.
And now he needs full ride here to tie. And once again, if we tie, we go to another 9th and 10th frame roll-off until the tie is broken. No sudden death here. This isn't the PBA Tour roll-off. So let's see if Patrick makes a move on that shot. Takes that turbo switch grip out of his spare ball, puts it back into his strike ball here. And let's see, looks like he just crept his feet a little bit more to the left there, Joey, on the approach. That's just dead left out of his hand.
Yank me, crank me right there.
And guess what? We're tied again. Let's do it one more time. And let's see if Patrick's going to change the order here. Keith's going to talk to him real quick. We're not going to waste any time getting to the next roll off as you see the replay there for that big break. And Patrick's going to stay on the left lane to start, the right lane to finish. So no changes here in the second roll off. And he knows he got a huge break on the crossover.
So you answered my question. I thought it might be a coin flip after this, but what if they tie after this overtime period?
Then we just keep going until we don't get a tie with the 9th and 10th frame. We can't change the rules of the tournament in the middle of it, unfortunately, and that's what
we could be here until the Packer season begins.
It's a distinct possibility at the rate these 2 young men are growing here, keeping things tied. But probably the best shot of the afternoon for Patrick right there to start it off.
Well, in that it struck, yes. He had the 9 pin last time, but I mean, you can't go wrong if you strike every frame, right?
No. But I think it's boring and monotonous if you're out there shooting 900 every series, too.
I haven't had that problem, have you?
Never will have that problem, I guarantee you. And how about that for a blower 710?
Yeah, the pins were gone quick. 5 pin out of the building, but a double tap at the wrong time.
Well, it's a $100 scholarship award if Livio can make the 710. Gives it a little extra speed. Doesn't quite get the bounce out of the
run,
pin.
though. That pin made it behind the 7.
One of these days we're going to give it away for the 710 or 4.6 on TV, the $100 scholarship or cash award for our adult bowlers here.
Well, 710 easier to convert than a 4.6, I would assume.
Absolutely. You know, you get that little extra bounce out of the pit, a little closer to the pit, so ball has a chance to smack it around. Now Livio's got pretty much go full ride here to have any chance of winning, and a huge break to trip a 410 out. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, he keeps us on the edge of our seat, and there's drama in these matches.
Well, if he strikes here, it's going to force Patrick to mark in the 10th frame for sure, depending on what kind of count Livio would have on this last ball.
Remember, in the first overtime, that left lane, he crept high on each shot, leaving a split the second time around.
Let's see what he does here. He gives that one a little more room to the right. How about it?
Can't throw it much better, so he made the move.
That's going to force Patrick Arney to definitely mark. What type of mark and what kind of count Patrick would need to stay alive, we'll find out after the shot, because Livio's maximum score here, 39, which we saw for him last roll-off. Seems to be a pretty popular number right now. Gets himself set up, takes a little extra time on the approach. Little over the toes that time, but still got it to come back.
Got the Wally, and that was no better time than now. And let's see, what does Patrick need? You're good with the math, Phil.
Well, a strike here pretty much locks it up. He can strike on the first ball. If he goes 9 spare strike, gives him 40, he'd be the winner. Any spare, 9 count would tie. Any spare, 8 count or less, Livio Bolzen would be our boys high school winner. And hey, for the first match under the breakout of the boys between the high school and college divisions, this one's pretty darn exciting, Joey. Needs to roll up a little harder.
Right. Much more exciting than a blowout match.
No
we
doubt.
like to see them competitive. We don't want to see any kid get blown out.
Oh, exactly. And they're not making atrocious shots out here. They're just making shots that are either a little fast, a little right, a little left, but you see on these tougher patterns, it doesn't take a large mistake for single pins to still stand.
Yeah, it always looks easier when you're at home watching, but again, they are not on your typical house shot. So it takes really good shot making to get it to the 1-3 with good roll to get good pin carry.
So he needs to make this and strike to take home the Yonan Memorial High School Boys title and that $1,000 scholarship. If he gets 9 on this shot, it's another tie. If he gets 8 or less, Livio Bolzen would be our champ.
So do you make an adjustment off of that light 2 pin?
I would think that if he thought he got a little fast with it, I don't think he adjusts. If he thinks that he made a good shot, maybe move a half board back to the right with my feet, just to make sure I come up a little bit more flush or even high flush.
And now's not the time to leave a dinner bucket, is it?
No, dinner bucket and you're going home in second place. Even a 2-4 right now, you're going home in second place. So the high hard one might be the way to go here. Lots of loft down the lane, and whoa, we almost had a rare 4-8 there.
It brought a smile to Patrick's face, but we do have another tie.
Which means we're going to have a third overtime roll-off here, and we're going to have to take a commercial break. Stay within our time here on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. So, bowling fans, make sure you stay tuned. This is the most exciting match we've had in a long time. Don't go away. Well, Joey, we've got 2 overtimes in the books here, both tied at 39. We're on overtime number 3 here for the high school boys final at the Yonan Memorial, and they're going to stay in the same order. Patrick Arney starting us off on lane 3 here at Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan.
So is this a record for the Yonan Memorial Classic?
Keith remembers in an earlier edition in one of the match play matches after a tie, they went to a 4th overtime. So not a record yet, but if we tie one more time, we can get to a record here at the Yonan Memorial. Patrick Arney out of Colgate, bowls for Germantown High School during the high school bowling season. Been bowling for quite a while. Remember that great program they got at Classic Lanes, Menominee Falls, and real grabby on the bottom after the commercial break. And you know, sometimes it's tough. You've been standing around for a couple minutes, waiting to get going again, and especially with the high pressure of only a 9th and 10th frame situation.
And again, we have to remind our viewers, they're still bowling for a $1,000 scholarship.
$500 for second place in scholarship money, so yeah, a big chunk of change if you walk out of here in first place instead of second. I mean, $500, not too bad either, walking out of here with. No doubt about that. That'll buy some books when these young men get to college. No problem coming up.
If we had Patrick Allen on and Ernie Schlegel, they'd say winner take all. Forget second place. The winner gets $1,500.
They probably would. Yeah, two of the best action bowlers over all the years.
Right now, we're not recommending that the younger players do the same, but that could have been a 3 count. But he leaves the pesky 1-5, which is probably the first time and only time Livio will ever leave this.
Well, we've seen a couple of weird, well, I shouldn't say combinations, but the 1-5 for Livio here. In the 10th frame of regulation, Patrick Arney left a cold head pin. So, and it's not always easy. You think about, hey, I just missed the head pin once. I can't miss it a second time.
Plus you got the back pin, so you need to hit it right there or a little flusher or you're going to miss the back pin.
Yeah. Both bowlers, spares on the board in the first box of this overtime, the 9th frame, and now it just comes down to who has the better 10th, who throws 2 or 3 better shots on their respective lane here.
Well, we know the left lane is hooking stronger than the right lane. It's been that way all day. And Livio, as we'll see, is sliding near the left gutter, so he's definitely playing the inside part.
Needs to hold. Boy, these bowlers are getting some nice breaks. We haven't seen any baby splits so far. They're getting that 10 pin out and just leaving the 3 pin for a much easier spare.
Right, and they're saving count as well.
Yeah, every stick counts right now. It gives Livio 19 in the 9th. If he spares and strikes, once again, we can see another 39 on the board. Little problem with, I think that's more his timing than the approach, Joey.
I would agree with that. And again, he's an excitable player, and he gets that momentum going. You got to keep those shoulders back a little bit at times.
So if he had his PBA theme music while he was bowling, it would be Warren Zevon's Excitable Boy, maybe?
That would be a good choice. Or Off to the Races.
That's another good one as well. Needs to get up a little bit more. Can't quite get himself to that magic 39 number, it seems to be.
Yeah,
but
that would have been a nice one to carry. So it's a little easier for Patrick here.
Yeah.
First one to the 10th would pretty much be the game.
Yeah, it just needs to get 9 on 2 balls in if he can get a strike here. Maxes himself out right now at 50 if he were to get all 3 strikes, but the first one and any fill in the 10th frame gets him the 40 and a 2-pin win. Needs to get at least 8 on this first ball, though. We see a 2-4-5 or a washout. It's going to be pretty much match over.
Left back-to-back 2-pins on this lane before, and he leaves another in the 3rd overtime.
Yeah, and he left that really late 4-pin to tie at the end of the last match.
Right, but that's 3 consecutive 2-pins on this right lane. You don't see that often.
No, so he needs to do something after making the spare, obviously, to get at least 9. Well, right now, actually, if he makes the spare and gets 9, it's winner, winner. No, it'd be another tie.
It'd be another tie.
So he needs to strike to win now after this.
So he needs to make some type of an adjustment on this lane, as not to leave 4 consecutive 2-pins.
Otherwise, we see our 4th consecutive roll-off if he does that. So, strike to win, 9 to tie, 8 or less. Patrick Arney would end up in 2nd place behind Livio Bolzan.
And we know the wheels are turning in his head, because when you're not controlling the 1-3 and you need good count or a strike, it's not an easy decision to get up on the approach, and I think that's why we're seeing him take a little extra time here.
Well, and the thing is, not giving away so much where you're not giving away a 9 count either. I mean, a 9 count, you're still staying alive and you get another overtime out of it.
Right, but you don't want to hand the match to your opponent by missing the head pin and leaving a 1-2-4.
So let's see what Patrick does here.
He's not going to miss the head pin right.
Wow.
And he leaves 8, so we have a winner.
Livio Bolzan sitting on the bench. I don't even think he was watching that shot. He ends up our inaugural high school boys champion here at the Sean Yonan Memorial. Great match. Joy and I are going to take a rest for a little bit here, rest our voices. We'll come back with an interview with the winner and also come back with the girls' final in just a couple of minutes. Make sure you stay tuned. Well, I've got Jocelyn and Trevor Yonan from the Yonan Memorial Tournament here, and is that the first time ever, guys, that you can remember 3 overtimes for a final roll-off?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
And a lot of exciting bowling, and we're going to bring in Patrick Arney, our second-place finisher. And Patrick, why don't you have a stand right next to me here? Did you think after the first 2 frames, I mean, you had 18 in the second, a little rough start, missed a couple of 10 pins. Do you think you were actually going to get back here and get 2 roll-offs? You had a chance to win, and now a third one that unfortunately didn't, turn out your way.
No, I did not at all. After the first 2 frames, I just came back, with a couple to spare and a strike. So, I don't know, just try to be myself afterwards.
Hey, not a bad day overall. Congratulations. Nice bowling. How much scholarship money do we have from Trevor?
$500 for second place.
Awesome. I'll let you slide in there, get your check and your second place trophy. And now let's bring in our champion here today for the high school boys division, Livio Bolzen. Livio,
thank you.
Nice bowling.
Thank you.
Is that the first time you've ever been in 3 roll-offs like that in a tournament, 9th and 10th frame roll-offs?
I've never really had to do roll-offs before, so it was different. It was kind of scary.
What 10th frame of the original game? You had a little problem with the spare. You're shooting at the 610 and stuck a little bit. Was that just timing or just nerves?
No, I stuck and I just dropped it out the window. So, yeah. So then we tied, and then we had all that fun. So
absolutely a lot of fun. And now with all that work, Jocelyn and Trevor got a nice trophy and a lot of scholarship money for you. How much do we have from Trevor?
$1,000 for first place. Congratulations.
thank you very much. Thank you.
You can get that trophy from Jocelyn. Lots of great bowling from the high school boys division so far. Next, we're going to bring back the girls and have the girls division do their roll-off. So join us back from Lakeshore Lanes in just a moment for that girls final. Tournament director Keith Yonan out there giving the crowd a few words of encouragement. He's trying to get them to liven up, but hey, there was a long first match there we had with the high school boys. Total of 16 frames of bowling to decide that winner.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot more smiles in this match than the last one, because I think that put a little stress and pressure on both of the boys, and girls are normally a little more happy to be here.
Yeah, well, there's somebody that's going to be standing up the whole time. Katie Sweetoffer's dad, Steve, there, always at a lot of her tournaments, whether they're youth tournaments, collegiate tournaments, always checking things out. And Katie, as direct as she plays the lanes, might not be an advantage to where we saw Patrick struggle with that last match.
Well, I mean, if you're going to get an open, frame one's the frame to get it, and then you can regroup and hold a good game afterwards. But we don't see Katie do this that often.
No, I mean, last time we saw Katie on TV was back at Classic Lanes Greenfield, back in September, where she defeated her boyfriend, Ryan Zagar, in the challenge match that day. And that's always got to be tough to bowl the significant other. And at least they're not bowling against each other today, but they've both made the finals here at the Yonan Memorial. We'll see Ryan against Riley Smith.
I'm sure Ryan hasn't heard the end of that match yet until he can find a way to beat her head-to-head.
Steph Sislewicz a little bit high on that first shot as well, and gets the good break there to take the 4-pin out.
So lanes were not re-oiled between matches.
No, they're still bowling the same thing.
Right,
high
so
school boys
we'll see if we see the same characteristics. I mean, we did see Katie go high on lane 3.
Yeah, Stephanie, you're going to see play a little bit farther to the right of Katie, and she'll have a little more overall hook. Katie, as we've always seen in a lot of the TV shows, she likes it point A to point B, just to make sure she can stay with her hard, firm, and straight game. She's up the back of the ball more. With Stephanie Sislewicz, she's a little bit more around the ball. She'll take a little bit more of a scenic route than Katie will.
Well, in some patterns, that's a big advantage, and in other patterns, straighter is greater.
Yeah, neither one of these ladies you'll never see looping the entire lane, but you'll definitely see a little more back-end movement out of Stephanie's ball here than you will with Katie's. Stephanie bowls for the Robert Morris team in Chicago. They're making their way to the USBC National Collegiate Team Championships in Reno shortly, and Katie's UW Whitewater team, as we tape this, just got their bid accepted to the NCAA Women's Bowling Championships in Cleveland. So good luck to both these ladies and their teams. They won't see each other in the postseason at all with the 2 different divisions of programs, but we could see both of these ladies come back as team championship winners, and a nice bounce back by Katie.
And that's what we're used to seeing. Now we'll see if Katie makes an adjustment on the drier of the 2 lanes, as attested by her opening shot as well as Steph's opening shot.
Want to thank Scott Hewitt, everybody at Motive Bowling. stepped up to be one of our sponsors for the Kids Bowling for Kids tournament, as well as helping out a bit with sponsorship on the Sean Yonan Memorial telecast. Thanks for coming on board.
And Motive making some of the finest equipment in the market today.
Got a couple of pieces ready for you to drill up, Joey, shortly, and can't wait to start using them during Summer League. Get some practice in on some tougher patterns out and about in the area. So some good sport bowling leagues and PBA experience type leagues out there at all kinds of centers. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, bowlers, nice short 8, 10, 12-week seasons for a lot of these leagues. Check out your local bowling center for those. Nice cover there by Katie. Keeps yourself within 11 pins.
Stephanie can take advantage of that second frame crossover. If she can catch a double here, take a little early lead, put a little pressure on Katie, something Katie's not used to having.
Could take it out to 21 pins here with a strike. Needs to roll up a little harder. Almost got the bucket crumbler.
Yeah, that wasn't as bad a shot as it looked at first, but
a lot of 9. That could have easily been a ball another quarter inch out to the right. Could have easily been that bucket and a real tough spare conversion. Now it's just repeat your last shot, and that ball will hook up into the 5-pin and take it out.
Yeah, there's just too many ways to miss the dinner bucket. You're always better off with a single pin.
And just to remind Stephanie here, it's been 4 years since we've had a 5-pin missed on television. Let's keep that streak going. No problem there. Covers it up nicely.
Well, the dark cloud you normally bring when you predict something at least isn't here today.
No, not so far.
Maybe you've lost that power.
I kind of hope so. I don't like bringing the bad juju on the bowlers here when they're on TV. I like seeing these high scorers and both these young talented collegiate players. You can see over Stephanie's right shoulder there her coach, Dale Lehman from Robert Morris in Chicago. So he's up here watching his bowlers. It's an off weekend for tournaments for them and doing a little recruiting as well. You always see those college coaches, they always keep recruiting.
We see Stephanie's consistency with back-to-back crossovers on the left lane.
Yeah.
Just kidding, Steph.
Little bump there from the coach.
We know she's going to make a move on this lane, but then again, you wonder, should I really move if I'm 2 for 2?
Yeah, this center's been pretty good to the Slasiewicz family. A couple years ago, her brother Brad won a Youth Challenge Series tournament we had here and a $400 scholarship. So they like it here at Lakeshore Lanes. Not exactly their home at Whitetail Lanes up in Amherst, but where their dad, Steve Slasiewicz, has a pro shop up there. But very nice center. Lots of good bowlers coming out of Amherst.
Katie with the high, hard one there.
Let's see what we can do. Frame number 5, getting into the commercial break for this match.
First double, possibly. Yes, we do.
Wally is in the house. We're going to let him help us on this commercial break here. Joe Serrano and I will be back from Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan with the rest of this girls' final for the 2014 Sean Yonan Memorial in just a moment. Make sure you stay tuned. Bill Hilbert, the owner here at Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan, staying close by, checking out the action. Actually checking on our foul line judge out there, making sure he's got a beverage out there, making sure he doesn't get parched. It's got to be a soda out here. We can't have these adult beverages out while the youth are bowling, of course.
As it should be, but need to stay hydrated.
So, and Steph Slasiewicz working on a strike. Got a big break with another crossover in the 4th frame. See what you can do here in her half of the 5th on lane 4 here at Lakeshore Lanes.
Good shot off the hand and a good result at the end of the lane. On a, could have been a soft 10-pin.
Well, it's kind of, I guess you can call that one the Paul Bunyan, because all of a sudden the 6 gets in there and it just yells timber and falls on the 10.
And that was a big double to keep Katie at arm's length. And, those who can remember seeing Stephanie on the show from a year or 2 ago, I mean, her game is much more polished. Probably the work of Dale at Robert Morris University.
Yeah, absolutely. They get a lot of practice time in on there, a lot of coaching time in as well, and a lot of times at Robert Morris, if those kids aren't in class or eating, they're bowling, and that's just the dedication that they have individually to the team to get better.
You can see Steph made an adjustment from the crossovers on the left lane, and lo and behold, you don't get rewarded even though you make the right move.
Yeah, a little bit of that weak 6 there, not even close to getting to the 10, and just going to switch to that polyester ball. You can see she checks her mark, moves well across to the left of the lane.
Good patience before she takes her first step. Good balance. Oh, and a surprising miss.
Yeah, surprised. It didn't look like she pulled that one off her hand, so it must have just simply been a targeting error. And
well, and we know the left lane is hooking more in the center part of the lane, especially from the high rev boys that were on.
And polyester will still hook, so
oh yes, it does.
let's see what Katie can do here to take advantage of that. She's working on her own double here.
Yeah, polyester will go straighter in oil than reactive resin and hook less, but it's not as though it will never hook.
And our cold head pin again, the second one of the day here on lane 4. A little different than what we saw from Patrick Arney in that high school boys match, but watch that 3-pin come bouncing back off the sideboard.
Yeah, well, it could be a characteristic of lane 4, but I don't think it is.
Well, when you see the, a lot of pinfall nowadays, you see that a lot more in centers because the bowlers can throw the ball much faster with higher rev rates than they did back 20, 30 years ago, so you do see a few backdoor strikes here and there, even during your league sessions.
You know, and even in an old-time center, and one that comes to mind is this past Monday, you and I bowled at the Holler House, and using reactive equipment, albeit not our favorite reactive equipment, the pin carry was not horrible, and pin action was actually quite good.
Yeah, we didn't see any messengers from our high rev or high speed players.
That's it. We got a few players in our league that are 500 plus rev rate, and we did not see any pins coming across the deck, at least none that struck.
Yeah, but the pin action there at Holler House was quite good. And boy, when you're oiling with a bug sprayer, that's a tougher pattern than even what these young ladies are bowling on right now. And I had a good time with it, though. It was a lot of fun.
And we were spoiled with, I believe we had 9 pizzas from Ned's Pizza that our league paid for the members of our league, Flat Earth Challenge League.
Yeah.
And plenty of cold beer and soda from Marcy, our gracious host upstairs.
Yeah, Marcy.
And her daughter.
Daughter-in-law, Kathy, as well. So always a good time there at Holler House. If you've never been there on 20th and Lincoln in Milwaukee, it's a bowling landmark. It's one of those places, like we say with Castle Lanes, it's one of the places you need to bowl before you die.
It's got to go on the bucket list, and we should give a shout-out to Michael James, who was our lone league member to fire a 600 series.
Yes, indeed, and he was throwing it quite well that night. The high hard one was working at Holler House, and I think Steph here needs to find herself a couple of high hard ones here and get herself back in the match. She's only down by a stick, but we've seen Katie throw strikes on 3 of her last 4 shots.
Well, I mean, she's a good player. You can tell by her fundamentals, but needs maybe a little bit more speed eventually in her game to just kind of combat some of the friction, because when she's forced to move in, she may not have quite the power that maybe the boys can create to get good carry.
So I'm sure that's something that between her dad Steve and her coach Dale, they'll be working on throughout this off season during the summer.
But then again, Carolyn Doran-Ballard did it pretty well without bumping inside, but she could throw firm.
She could throw very firm if she had to. So you could see Stephanie right there. Great shot to get that 5 blown over. Didn't even need to get to the 7-pin. But Katie's weave off her 1-pin lead can extend it to 11 if she can strike here. In the 8th frame, and she liked it out of her hand.
And she's pretty direct. The ball appeared to cross 15 or 16th board. And we know the pocket resides on lane or board 18, so that's only about a 3-board hook.
Yeah, and now you can see one of the reasons why Katie was named to the National 10-Pin College Coaches Association first team All-American this year. And another one of our Youth Challenge Series bowlers that you've seen many times in the past, Mandy Van Dyne, Rookie of the Year in Division 2 and 3 for the NCAA. So
that's impressive.
Great honors for the UW Whitewater women's team. And that's why first team All-American in her senior year.
And that's why Katie beat up on Ryan Zager in their match. Right there. Ryan, take notes.
Well, Katie can strike out here for 238, and Stephanie's really going to need to get strikes in the 9th and first ball of the 10th to put any pressure on Katie. You can see right there, Katie just looking for that little extra length in the shot, and she got it. Yeah, this is a must.
No trouble controlling the dry on that lane that we saw so much of in the boys' match.
Pretty firm, solid out of her hand, and of course, the wrap 10 that touches it and doesn't knock it over, just to make sure you know.
And she needed that strike big time late in the match on a strike, and you can't throw it much better. And that was not a weak 10.
No.
Even though we saw a little deflection from the ball, that 6 wrapped around it pretty hard.
And you just see she just gets the heart ripped out of her by that 6-pin right there. She knows it's pretty much game over, even with the spare here and striking out in the 10th. It's just going to force Katie to either get very good count or a mark of any type in the 10th frame. So right now,
well, we're not going to see another overtime match.
No doubt about that. Stephanie's maximum right now is 207. I mean, if Katie gets a mark right now, she's in the 2 teens. So just a matter of what Stephanie does here to put any type of pressure on Katie. Steph getting herself set up. Love this camera angle, nice and low on the bowler when they release. And that's now officially game over.
Yeah, and another good shot. And we can see that she's making this pattern look easy in getting to the 1-3, and we know it's not. In fact, the girls hit the pocket much more so than the boys did.
Absolutely, and just a matter for Stephanie to find a way to kick the 10-pin out late, and she did miss one earlier. She gets any of those out, or she makes that one, and it's a totally different ball game in the 10th frame with Katie stepping up. But now Katie just needs good count on the first ball. Stephanie's maximum right here is 196. Katie just needs a 6 count on the first ball, and she's got it wrapped up.
So do you think the girls rock the white headband similarly to how a lot of the younger youth male bowlers rock the white belt?
It could be. I see a lot of the white headbands coming back in fashion for the girls. So it could be just their version, as you said. Their little
right at target. She got that ball back from right field. But 9 nonetheless, and a good 195 game.
Yeah, right now 6 pins for Katie, and she's going to go home as the Yonan Memorial Girls Champion this year. Girls need to get a few more high school girls out here. Keith Yonan said if he can get a few more high school girls out here, he'd separate the girls' divisions out in the high school and college like he's done with the boys, and he'd find a way to make sure that each of the division winners got a $1,000 scholarship payoff. So high school girls, spread the word. Get enough of you here next year up in Sheboygan for this tournament, and we'll even do a separate TV show for you, for just the ladies.
And there's plenty of good female players in the Milwaukee area, so hear this call.
Absolutely. Throughout the state, throughout the Green Bay, Fox Valley area. Absolutely. So Katie's going to pick up this spare. She is our girls champion here at Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan. We're going to let her finish off the match. We'll come back with a quick interview with both these bowlers in just a minute. Make sure you stay tuned. Eileen's Bowling Buddy, used by high school and college coaches and members of the PBA Tour to train, warm up, and rehab. Get all the information at eileensbowlingbuddy.com. I have a lot of viewers that ask me, why do you have so many of your tournaments at Castle Lanes? Well, Castle Lanes is a center that has an exceptional atmosphere. The charm of being in a Northwoods cabin while you bowl, an attentive staff on the lanes and in the lounge, all the big screen TVs and a free Wi-Fi hotspot, and being named in Bowler's Journal as one of the 95 places to bowl before you die, you have to bowl at Castle Lanes. That's why we love Castle Lanes, and you will too. Well, the girls' finals from Lakeshore Lanes are complete for the 2014 Yonan Memorial. And Jocelyn, I saw you throw a lot of strikes last night in the Pro-Am, let's be honest. I mean, you were even out bowling your dad a little bit when I saw a few. But you think you kept up with these two young ladies on the lanes today?
Not in my old age now. No, maybe in high school, but not as much now.
Yeah, a lot of strikes on the lanes. Let's bring our second place finisher, Steph, in. Steph, you had some good shots out there, but had problems kicking out that 10 to keep up with Katie. Anything you do different at this point in time, looking back, different ball or something?
Yeah, I actually, earlier in the day, I had a different ball. I bowled my zero gravity, and now I balled down, and I guess I just didn't make the right shots to make all the pins fall.
Yeah, you got it in the pocket, and sometimes it's just a matter of kicking those corners, and Katie got one or two more than you, and hey, still a great day. Second place finish. And Jocelyn, how much scholarship money do you have there for Steph?
$100.
Awesome. Why don't you step on over, get your check, and get you that second place award. And let's bring in our girls champion for today, Katie Zwiefelhofer. And Katie, great bowling to finish out the match. 7th, 8th, and 9th frames, that big three-bagger towards the end, and that was really the difference in the match. What kind of change did you make?
I just kept telling myself to trust it. My first shot, I didn't start out too great. I left a split because I tugged it inside, and that was the one thing I knew today that the whole day I couldn't do. So I just kept telling myself, relax and trust the ball, and it paid off.
And unfortunately, you're going to be too old next year to defend your title, but hey, way to end your Yonan Memorial career with a championship. And how much money do you have for scholarship money, Jocelyn?
$1,000.
Awesome. Come on over, Katie. Get that check and that wonderful Champions Trophy. Thanks to the Yonan family again. And, hey, we got 2 finals down, but still a really good final to go. And somebody very special to Katie, Ryan Zagar, is going to be in our college boys final, and we'll be back with that from Lakeshore Lanes in just a moment. So make sure you stay tuned.
2 championship matches in the books already here today at the Sean Yonan Memorial from Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan. Last one we got left today is the college boys final, and Joey, no favorites here between Ryan Zagar and Riley Smith, both quality young collegiate bowlers.
Well, without a doubt, Phil, and these are 2 heavyweights in the collegiate bowling ranks, even though both of them together may weigh what you and I do individually, but they both have solid games, modern day games, very solid at the line, higher than average backswing and higher than average rev rate.
Ryan Zagar, a member of Junior Team USA. Riley Smith just missed out on that last year with his 9th place finish at Junior Gold in Indianapolis. And with shots like that, you can see why Ryan Zagar is a Junior Team USA member.
Well, that's it. These kids know how to manipulate the lane condition with hand position, release, equipment choice.
And you're going to see both these bowlers playing the lanes deep and straight as much as they can. This 2013 United States Bowling Congress Singles and Doubles Nationals pattern is broken down a little bit with the 2 matches, 2.5 matches basically. We had before that with the high school boys overtime.
Right, and the lanes were not reconditioned before this match, so we could see the left lane playing drier as it did in the early matches.
Riley Smith, sophomore at McKendree University, down in the St. Louis area, where not only is he on the bowling team down there, but he's also a member of the men's golf team. He's almost a scratch golfer. And wants to scratch that shot out of his memory real quick with the 1-2-10.
Yes, he does, and that may have surprised him a little bit because they get a few shadow balls prior to the match beginning, and I didn't see that in shadow balls.
No, not at all. Both these bowlers right in the pocket, so it was either a little quick off his hand, a little right, or a combination of the 2, but I thought it was pretty solid off his hand. Like you said, could have been a surprise. Switches to that polyester ball.
Full approach, 5-step approach.
Nice out of his hand, and how about that for a spare, Joe?
That's the way to get her done. You don't want to give an opponent like Ryan Zagar an extra 10-pin cushion if you can help it.
Yeah, especially right out of the gate. It's always tough for bowling from behind, and you can see right there, headpin just gets enough of that 10-pin, almost went around the top of it.
Very well could have gone right over the top and given him 9 all day, and Ryan, a little round of applause for his opponent. I think they do have mutual respect for one another, which is good to see.
Oh, they've bowled for so many years. They've bowled since high school against each other. I mean, Riley bowled for Kenosha Bradford. His team came close to a state title one year, and he finished in 2nd at high school state when he was a freshman. Ryan Zagar, a couple of good showings in the high school state tournament, and when he was with Racine Horlick, he won a high school state title with them as well, and a big break there to trip that 7 out and just leave the 6-pin.
It's possible Riley didn't see quite the differences in lanes 3 and 4 as we've seen through the earlier matches.
Yeah, both these bowlers had a chance to stay loose on lanes to the right of the TV pair earlier, but those lanes get a lot of play before the matches, and then they get to come down here and only see basically 20 or 30 frames bowled on them. So once again, polyester ball, take the lane out of play. Well to the left on the approach, nice and easy out of the hand. And we talked about in the opening match with the high school boys where you see that open hand-on release. You're going to see that with both these bowlers on their follow-throughs. Definitely no grabbing or pinching of that ball on the bottom.
Right, and quite a bit different technique than what players were taught back in the 70s and 80s where you needed to kind of grab on it and hit up on it. Nowadays, get it off your hand clean, play angles properly, and use the correct ball, and you should be able to score in any condition.
Ryan sporting that great High Five Gear jersey, not only a sponsor of the PBA Tour, but a sponsor of the Youth Challenge Series as well, and can't get lucky enough to trip that 4-pin out, and I think he's going to having to make a little bit of a move already if he's starting to go high flush. It doesn't take long with these high-powered bowling balls and these high rev rates.
Right. And his opening shot could have left a 9-pin.
So he's going to stay with his strike ball here. Both these bowlers like to use a little bit of time before they get on the approach, so our tournament director Keith Yonan on the side. Keep an eye on that 25-second shot clock. They do have until their bowling ball comes back until they start their approach, so no problem for Ryan staying within the shot clock there and covering up. that 4-pin.
Right, and you see some of the top players using their strike ball for left-handed spares, and you wonder why would they want to do that. And I mean, I would assume it's due to the heavier amount of conditioner left of their target line.
Exactly. There's still that build-up, even though they have the lanes opened up a little bit. You need to get through that, and if you start with a polyester ball, it starts right of target. It has a tendency to stay right of target if you're a right-hander.
See if Ryan makes some type of an adjustment on this lane, even though he did strike opening shot.
Nice and loose on the top of that swing, and there he goes, nice and light, and mixes it up. No doubt you can get all 10 pins out that way here at Lakeshore Lanes. That seems to be the best carrying shot all day. Watch that ball roll up into the pocket. 5-pin gets kind of paralyzed a little bit, but enough stuff comes over, knocks it down, and you'll see a little bit of emotion on both these bowlers. Ryan was pretty confident getting in the pocket on that shot.
I think we may see a reasonably even match until the end of the game, and then someone's going to take charge.
You just hope it's not because of a bad break or something like that, a pocket 7-10 or stuffed 8-pin.
Well, is that a bad break, Phil, or is that not an ideal shot?
Well, most of the solid 8-pins, not an ideal shot. Pocket 7-10s, yeah, you did something to have the ball come in a little light and a little late and not take. Usually you just leave one of the corner pins, though, not both.
Right. I mean, they've said that for 50 years. The solid 8 is the only true tap in bowling. And I'd have to almost agree with that, because there's times it is butter off your hand. You chop the 5 straight back instead of hitting it slightly to the right of center and into the 8. Your ball, you actually threw it too good, and you get tapped.
Absolutely. And how many times do you see bowlers leave, a 2-4 if they're right-handed or a 5-8 and chop the 2 or the 5 off a pin? It's just almost impossible to do. Great cover there by Riley, getting them both with the ball. And you get those sleeper pins on these type of conditions. Not always the easiest to get that back pin out. Either you overhook it, you go by it, you don't get it far enough across the lane, you just get the front pin out and the ball deflects off the back pin. A little confidence there by Riley. He kind of knew it, started walking away as soon as the ball started hooking into the pins there. So that's the thing. Hey, past champion here at the Yonan Memorial, AJ Johnson, a little wave to the camera there.
And teammate of Riley Smith.
Little mom Judy Johnson taking care of things right now. Keeping an eye out on Riley here as well. Nice and loose with that backswing. Easy through the shot. And a huge break there to cave that 4-6, Joey, in the 4th frame.
Yeah, and he's been high more than once on that lane. He's going to have to make an adjustment. I don't know who he's pointing at.
I think it's AJ. I think AJ's back there kind of giving him a little grief on that shot.
AJ's probably going, bump in, bump in.
Do something. So he knows he got a huge break right there to not leave the 4 or the 6 or both. As
Ryan 4-pin last time on this lane. And a 9-pin this time, and that's what happens when you got too much hand sometimes.
That's just harsh, and that's got to kind of take a little bit out of your momentum there. You just see your opponent cave in a 4-6, you throw a pretty good shot and leave a stone 9-pin, and instead of popping a double on the board and staying ahead of your opponent, you're barely even with them now. Well, you just got to keep your composure here and do your job, throw that spare. No problem covering up there for Ryan. He's not going to be giving any pins away in this match, I guarantee you.
I mean, so ball reaction-wise, it does appear as though Ryan has the better look.
Yes.
But again, if Riley makes an adjustment, his look may improve quite a bit as well. And he is on a strike.
Yeah, you can see back there in the burgundy shirt, Dale Lehman, Ryan Ziegler's coach at Robert Morris, Illinois, is keeping an eye on things. I'm sure if Ryan's looking for a little advice after the shot on the commercial break, I'm sure he'll go back and talk to Dale.
Okay, well, watch his backswing, which is, again, about a foot or 2 less than it used to be, because it used to come past vertical.
Yeah.
And a bad break for Ryan, who evidently made an adjustment, because he came light last time on this lane after being high in the opening shot. And, I mean, bad break, not a great shot.
No, I mean, it could have easily been a 2-8-10. Something just barely got the 2-pin out. And right now, get the 1 pin, get in the commercial break, and only be down by a mark or so, and hope your opponent doesn't double coming out of the break. Well, does get that 1. We're going to get into our commercial break for this game, so join Joseph and I back from Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan for the rest of this Yonan Memorial College Boys Final in just a moment. Due to time constraints here, we had the bowlers continue bowling through the commercial break. Riley Smith stepped up in his half of the 5th frame here at Lakeshore Lanes. Almost got the messenger to come over and take out that 4-pin or 10-pin on lane 4. No problem covering up that spare.
It seems like Riley is getting lined in. I mean, that was a good shot. He came high on this lane last time, tripped the 4-6. He comes higher this time and trips the crossover.
So gets another good break to keep himself in the match here. Ryan Zagar coming off of that bad 8-10 break in his 4th frame, strikes in his 6th. Looks to get a double here, gets a huge break to take the 2-pin out and almost rolls it into the 10.
Yeah, he's been light on that lane last couple of shots, so it almost appears though Ryan is seeing a little over-under.
And both these bowlers still sitting within 10 pins of each other right here. After 6.5 frames, with Riley Smith stepping up in his half of the 7th, looking to double here.
Well, this is about the time of the match where one of these players should take control.
Let's see if Riley can take advantage of that huge break he just got on lane 3 with that crossover strike.
Left the 10-pin last time up here. Almost caught it with a messenger. He slows down and kind of looped it a little bit more.
Yeah,
soft hook.
Yeah, he's definitely got more of a forward roll type of game than Ryan does. I mean, both these bowlers do have their A, B, C releases on them if they need to change the roll pattern a little bit to do it. But Riley, his main game is getting a nice, strong end-over-end roll. You can see there, as you said, Joey, a little slower on the release, a little slower on the ball speed, and had no problem getting the ball to face up properly and strike.
And our viewers can notice, you know, players will modify hand position and ball speed rather than always making ball changes. And that's kind of the way it should be done.
And his best shot of the game so far on lane 3, and he's really struggled on that lane early. Made a nice little move, and once again, that little bit slower ball speed, let the ball read, and don't force it down the lane. And you could see Riley talking to his teammates in the back going, yeah, that pretty much worked for me there.
Yeah, and that's a huge strike, giving him a turkey.
And a 30-pin lead right now.
Yeah, at the right time in the match. Now, Ryan has been good on this lane he's on the right lane, which has been his bugaboo lane. And he carries the 9 this time with a little more speed.
Great shot there to keep himself within 30 pins, but his maximum score right now, 217 if you were to strike out. Riley Smith on 227 pace.
Right, and that was Ryan's first strike on that right lane. Now, his good lane, where he did have a bad break, leaving the light 8-10. But we'll see if he can get honed in. But again, this lane seems to be a little wet dry for him.
Yeah, 10-pin last time on this lane. Almost had a 210. Rolled it out. So he needs to make a move here and quickly just to have any chance in this match. And a little quick getting in the pocket, and you just see that ball pretty much deflected there.
Yeah, and that might have surprised him a little bit because he at least got it into the pocket flush.
And you see his reaction there. He knows that one was huge to put any pressure on Riley Smith stepping up in the 9th frame and 10th frame. So he's going to go to urethane bowling ball. Move over to the left side of the approach. Soft out of the hand. No problem covering it up. That's one thing with both these bowlers. They don't overthrow. You see so many young players throw it as hard as they can, hard and straight at the corner pins, all the extra speed, and these bowlers aren't much above their regular speed when they're throwing at 7s or 10s out there.
Well, there's no need to. I mean, but their soft speed is still firm enough.
Their soft speed is my throwing it hard and straight at the 10-pin.
Well, I saw you gun some the other day at Holler House. You were easily in the 24-mile-per-hour range, shooting at a 7-pin, I believe.
It's trying to stay away far enough from scraping my knuckles on the wall on lane 2 there as well.
Oh, that is a cement wall, yes.
Nice tight fit there at Holler House, no doubt about that. Riley Smith here, a strike here, can pretty much lock up the match. And high, and a huge break to get that 9-pin out of there, Joey.
And he wanted that one and might have given it just that little extra mustard at the bottom, and you could see that ball react. Even with forward end-over-end roll, it kind of knifed a little bit on the back.
Well, Riley...
But he stays clean, which is the main thing.
Knows this shot is important, and taking a lot of extra time on the back of the approach here.
Well, you know, too many bowlers don't take enough time on their spare shot, and it's just as important as your first shot.
So, gets himself set up to go cross lane. Right up the left side. Dead on it. There it is. And I think we do have a shot clock violation there, so as soon as Riley gets back from his bottle of water, I'm sure Keith Yonan, tournament director, is going to let him know.
And on the PBA, it's a $25 fine, I believe.
During the regular part of the tournament, on TV you get one warning, and then it's $500.
Oh,
and
it
then
used to be $20. Oh,
yeah.
maybe it never was $25, unless back in the day. But
so yeah, Riley asked for a re-rack right there, so he does get 2 a match. So his time will actually start once he gets a new rack of pins out there.
That buys you a little extra time right there.
Well, exactly, and he knows how important the shot is, so he knows he's not going to run into a shot clock violation, because otherwise now with the tournament, he's had his 1 warning, so if he had another shot clock violation, he gets 0 for that ball. So he's got his new rack of pins up there. We'll have plenty of time to get the shot away. And any type of mark here will make him 2014 Sean Yonan Memorial Collegiate Boys Champion. Looks pretty solid. Doesn't get better than that, Joe.
Went with the bread and butter, kicked up the speed, kind of fanned it a little bit.
And there is your winner right now, Riley Smith. The inaugural, since they split the high school and collegiate boys, inaugural collegiate boys champion here at the Sean Yonan Memorial. We're going to let Riley finish out his match. We'll let Ryan take some shots during the commercial break, and we'll come back and interview both these bowlers in just a minute here from Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan. Make sure you stay tuned.
Another good match to finish off the 2014 Sean Yonan Memorial Tournament with the College Boys Finals. Our second place finisher, Ryan Zagar here. And Ryan, you started off lane 4, you were locked, and lane 3 got a little squirrely on you as the frames went on a little bit. Was it just a condition change, or what happened out there for?
No, I didn't think the one in the 5th was a pretty good shot. It was real rounded. You know, sometimes they don't go your way. You know, he had a couple early breaks early on, and I knew I had to start striking if I wanted a chance at the end of the match. So I thought I made some pretty good shots down the stretch, but just wasn't enough today.
Hey, still second place, your best finish ever here at the Sean Yonan, and Trevor's got a nice scholarship check for you as well for
$500.
Awesome, and Jocelyn will give you that trophy as well. Great bowling again today, Ryan. And now let's get to our College Boys champion today, Riley Smith. Riley, come on in here. Congratulations, great bowling. So a couple of breaks early, you got to admit. You had the strike that caved in, I believe, in the 4th frame, and in the 6th you crossed over, but you came back in the 7th and 8th frame and just laced 2 right in the pocket. What move did you make off of that?
Oh, first off, they don't call me caveman for nothing, but anyway, breaks happen, and I'm very fortunate for that, but the adjustment I made, I got the jitters out of me. It's been a long time since I've been on a TV telecast like this, so I started to get comfortable, started drawing lines to my break point, and then I became aware of, you know, where I was at and the moves I was making. So, I just can't believe it happened already. It's awesome.
You know, your parents and your sister watching today. Obviously, your teammates from McHenry came up for the tournament. You know, hung around and watched, and you know, your teammate AJ Johnson won this tournament a couple of years ago. Did he give you any advice before you stepped on TV? I mean, he had to win a couple of matches back in his day.
Yeah, he helped me more with ball choice during practice a little bit. I mean, he's got such a keen eye for lane play and everything, and very fortunate to have him in my corner. So, and also my parents too. I can't thank my family enough for coming.
Absolutely, everybody did with their parents' support today. Couldn't have got here any other way. And for the College Boys Championship, Trevor Yonan's got a nice scholarship prize for you of
$1,000. Congratulations, good bowling.
And awesome. Jocelyn's got your trophy for you. And Trevor, how much total in scholarship money awarded today?
$12,000.
That is just absolutely amazing. Another great year at the 2014 Sean Yonan Memorial Tournament. It's not all over yet because we got another tournament here coming up, and it's an open tournament. We might see some of these kids back on the show. We might see some of the local area talent adult bowlers on the show. Maybe you bowling in that tournament?
I'll be bowling tomorrow, so hopefully we can see me bowling tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully we get you on TV. We get to hand you a little check instead. So I'm going to come back from Lakeshore Lanes with Joyce Serra in just a moment to wrap up this entire show. Make sure you stay tuned. Well, Joey, another Sean Yonan Memorial in the books, the 2014 edition. 3 championships and 3 really good matches out there today.
Yeah, we saw heavyweight matches in all the divisions and quality shot making on a somewhat challenging and changing pattern the whole day.
And we're not done up here in Sheboygan yet. Back to Lakeshore Lanes for our next show, the Sean Yonan Memorial Open. It's going to be open to adult bowlers, and we might even see a few youth bowlers taking advantage of Rule 400 in the singles competition. They can take any prize money as scholarship money, and lots of familiar faces we're going to see again on both sides of the equation, adults and youth.
Those darn kids. What are we going to do, Phil?
I know. We're just going to have to keep getting better and keep beating them, apparently. So we'll be back from Lakeshore Lanes for our next show. So for my friend Joe Serrar from Bowlers Pro Shop, I'm Phil Brilo. And parents, take the kids bowling. They'll have fun for life. We'll see you once again from Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan for the Sean Yonan Memorial Open.